Are you a cheap person? Do you always look for the deals? Are you always buying the great value brand? A lot of people are. Some things are way overpriced. No different for fantasy football. We're looking for that great value brand late. Why? Sometimes it's some of those great deals that lead to fantasy football championships. That's what we're talking about right now. What's going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. Welcome back to the Draft.com studios. Today, we're talking late round values. Some guys that you can get in the double-digit rounds that could really be, nice producers for your fantasy football teams, at least to start the season. They have that upside at the beginning of the year, possibly. Heck, they may have it all year long. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Got a few players you do not want to miss out on. Before we get into it, our draft guide still for sale, $19.99 now. It may be over 500 virtual pages. We've added top 250 cheat sheets for PPR, standard. We got some IDP rankings in there. We got kicker and defense. We got all kinds of information that we have added in to this draft guide, so you do not want to miss it during your fantasy football draft. Go get yours before it's too late. But now, let's talk about a few guys, some late round value picks that you don't want to miss out on when you're on the clock in your fantasy football drafts. First guy up is going to be a name that we've talked about, or at least Kyle has talked about on this channel probably a week or so ago, but we need to talk about him again. It's Tony Pollard, running back of the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, according to fantasyfootballcalculator.com, his current ADP is 13.09, the end of the 13th round. And right now, he's looking great in Zeke's absence. Now, obviously, if Zeke does not report, Tony Pollard is not going to get the huge Zeke Elliott volume. We know that. However, he could carve out a pretty nice role. He's really been impressive in camp so far. And it's not just running the ball. His pass catching ability is what really sets him apart. He's got 4.3 speed. And there's already rumors coming out of Cowboys camp that he kind of has a little bit of Alvin Kamara in him. Now, am I saying he's the next Alvin Kamara? No, don't put those words in my mouth. But the skill set, the way that he plays the game is similar. Now, currently a 13th round ADP. The longer Zeke sits, though, the higher that ADP will climb. Now, we do expect Zeke to sign, but at some point, does Tony Pollard carve out a role regardless if Zeke plays or not? That's a possibility. That's something we need to watch out for. And with a 13th round pick, kind of a lottery ticket stash, if your draft is right around the corner, grab Tony Pollard late. You never know. He could have a pretty decent role if Zeke doesn't report. And if Zeke does report, don't be quick just to drop the guy. Let's see how they use him first. You never know. Maybe he is the next Alvin Kamara. How about we talk about DeSean Jackson now, running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. Why are there not more people talking about DeSean Jackson? I don't get it. Everybody is scrambling right now to get Austin Ekeler in their drafts. Heck, Eckler's ADP has already risen all the way up until the 6th round. Are you kidding me? But when you look at the numbers of DeSean Jackson last year, when Melvin Gordon was out, he had 9 less carries than Austin Ekeler, but still outrushed him 133 to 129. Pretty close. But you may be out there saying, well, yeah, okay, they were close rushing the ball. Ekeler really going to kill him in the passing game. That's where he's going to separate himself. That's why he's more valuable. Well, there's no denying that Ekeler is a better pass catcher, but last year, despite receiving 13 more targets than DeSean Jackson, Ekeler only outgained him by 16 yards through the air in Melvin's absence. Now, Ekeler fits that pass-catching change of pace role perfectly. He's not built to be an every down back. What he does in that offense really propels them to another level. It brings in that different style of runner. That's where they need to have him. Who benefits if Melvin Gordon doesn't report? It's DeSean Jackson. And you can get him right now with a current ADP of 12.08. 6 rounds after Austin Ekeler. Don't pay up for Ekeler. I don't care if it's a full PPR league or not. The real value right now in LA is going to be DeSean Jackson if there's no Melvin Gordon. A wide receiver now. What about Michael Gallup? Wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. I know, 2 Cowboys, 1 show. I'm not too excited about it either, but the value is there, so we need to talk about it. Right now, Michael Gallup's ADP, back half of the 13th round, according to Fantasy Football Calculator. I mean, and otherwise, the guy's late in your drafts. But why is everybody ignoring Michael Gallup? He could end up being one of the biggest steals on draft day. I mean, heck, Michael Gallup was already looking great in camp here in the offseason. Looking great, making all types of great plays. Him and Dak have really looked to get on the same page, and it's showing so far throughout training camp and preseason. And now, Amari Cooper's missing a little bit of time due to some plantar fasciitis. Now, I'm not saying Michael Gallup is going to assume the number 1 wide receiver role for the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be Amari Cooper's. He's not going to miss a huge amount of time. But those extra reps that he's getting as the number 1 wide receiver right now in Dallas in this offseason is going to prove to be invaluable once the season comes. He's gaining that confidence. He's gaining that added chemistry with Dak Prescott. And if Zeke does not report, they're going to have to rely more on the passing game. Now, Cooper is automatically going to command the top defensive attention. Obviously, the best DB coverage is going to be going towards Amari Cooper. Gallup, he could be the one that reaps the rewards of that, though. Now, he didn't have a huge rookie year, but he made up for it in what he gained in experience and has a chance to really break out here in 2019. In the 13th round, the back half of the 13th round, heck, maybe even later in your fantasy football drafts, what do you have to lose? Take a chance on Michael Gallup. He could actually hit wide receiver 3 numbers possibly this year with a huge ceiling in an offense that may rely a lot more on the passing game. All right, another wide receiver is going to be DeSean Jackson, wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, and his ADP is a little higher than the others right now, beginning of the 10th round, and it's starting to climb. So depending where your draft is, you need to pay attention to DeSean Jackson. Now, we know what D-Jax is, right? He's a speedy wide receiver with the ability to break a big play at any given time. Yes, he's getting a little bit older. He may not be the same DeSean Jackson that was in Philly the last time that he was there. But what stands out to me with DeSean Jackson in 2018 was he was still getting the respect from the opposing defenses for his elite speed, and it showed. He's still a factor even though he's getting older. He was given the 4th largest cushion at the line of scrimmage by the opposing defensive back, 4.98 yards of cushion. They were expecting a speedy wide receiver off the line. Now, despite that large cushion, he was still able to gain 1.7 yards of separation on his targets. Now, in the NFL, that number may not seem very large, 1.7 yards, but that is almost wide open in NFL terms. So even though they're giving him the cushion, he's still able to separate himself from the defender. It's not like we have a bunch of screen passes, though. He's still going deep. He was 2nd in the NFL with 18.9 yards per reception last season. If there's one knock on DeSean Jackson, is that there's so many freaking options with the Philadelphia Eagles to fight for targets. We've talked about it in the past. We know about Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar. We got the 2 tight ends with Goddard and Ertz, 54 running backs in the backfield. A lot of different ways to go around, a lot to share there in Philadelphia. Does he become inconsistent at times? That's something that, we really have to figure out going forward, but with a 10th round ADP, potentially he's your wide receiver 4, which really minimizes risk. The amount that the payoff could be for DeSean Jackson could be huge. I mean, if he could stay healthy and play 16 games in this offense and be that elite speed wide receiver with arguably probably one of the better quarterbacks he's ever had in his career, I mean, we could be seeing wide receiver 2 upside for DeSean Jackson in Philadelphia, and you're getting him in the 10th round. Now, I don't want to go out there and overhype DeSean Jackson. I have my concerns, and a lot of people do. It's the reason why he's in the 10th round. Like I said, minimal risk, huge possible payoff, depending on where he is during your fantasy football draft. If he's anywhere near the double-digit rounds, I'm taking a shot on DeSean Jackson. All right, those were a few of my best values here on draft day. Some guys in the double-digit rounds that you really need to pay attention to once you're on the clock for your fantasy football drafts. But like usual, one of the most interactive channels on YouTube. Throw a comment down below, and if I gave you any great information, make sure you hit that like button. They really, really help us out here on YouTube. So really appreciate the support. Leave those comments down below. I'd love to interact with you guys. Find out some of your opinions. Maybe you have some other players that you're really, really looking at late in drafts. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion about it. Looking forward to it. We want to make sure that we help as many people as possible have a very successful fantasy football season here in 2019. But until then, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Go over to fantasyheadliners.com, get your draft guide now before it's too late, because in this year, we're taking over 2019. It's all about Headliner Nation.